Hey everyone, I'm Lauren from Pathways Education. In this presentation, we're going to be covering saving. Today's pathway towards understanding saving starts with the reasons to save. I'm sure all of you have heard your parents talk about saving. After all, it's something that's very important to adults. But you might be wondering, why should I care about saving? I'm still a kid. Saving money is one of those things where the earlier you start, the better. The average American has approximately $38,000 of personal debt. $38,000 is a lot of money. To put that in perspective, let's see what you can buy with that amount of money. $38,000 is equal to a new car, 1,520 TVs, or 54 iPhones. Imagine owing someone 54 iPhones. Not a great situation to be in, right? Well, the reality of the fact is, that's how much the average American owes. On top of that, being human is expensive. Normal things, such as going to the hospital, going to college, or even buying food to eat can be extremely costly. To help us better understand saving, we're going to play a game throughout the duration of this presentation. So someone just gave you $200, and you can do whatever you want with that $200. The only two rules of the game are you must keep track of your spending, and you can only buy things that you can afford. With that being said, item number 1 that we have for sale is a cupcake for $7. If you want to buy this cupcake, make sure to record your transaction so that you know how much you have left. For this example, that would mean documenting that you spent $7 and have $193 left. The second step of our pathway towards understanding saving is banks. There are two different types of banks, commercial banks and investment banks. For this presentation, we won't get into the nitty-gritty of the difference between the two, but we will cover commercial banking way more than investment banking. Commercial banks are the ones that are more relevant to today's lesson because they manage deposits for both individuals and businesses. This means that entities can put money into an account for the bank to hold on to for them. Commercial banks also make public loans, offer checking services, as well as other basic financial products such as certificates of deposit. On the other hand, investment banks are more associated with corporate finances. This is handling money for different companies. They're also involved with mergers and acquisitions, provide businesses with financial services to give them the support it needs, and it does not accept certificates of deposit, or deposits for that matter. Now, we have item number 2 for sale. Item number 2 is a pair of sneakers that for your choice as long as they're $60 or under. Once again, make sure to record your transaction if you do decide to buy these sneakers. You don't have to. You can buy your money, you can buy whatever you want, you can save your money, whatever your heart desires. So, back to banks. The reason we're interested in commercial banks in the first place is because they offer savings accounts. Savings accounts are different from checking accounts for numerous reasons. First off, there's a limited number of times where you're allowed to withdraw money from that account in a given month. On top of that, savings accounts pay interest and are not linked to debit cards or the usage of checks. There are different kinds of saving accounts too, with different purposes. You might be wondering, why and how do the banks pay people interest for putting their money into a savings account? To better understand this, I'll provide you with an example. So Jordan decides to deposit her money into her savings account, and the bank pays her interest on her deposit. That means the bank gave her some amount of money for putting her money into the bank. The bank can now use the money that Jordan deposited to issue loans to other borrowers. The bank will then charge those borrowers a higher interest rate than the one that they paid Jordan. The bank then profits from the difference in these interest rates and is able to stay afloat. Well, as you look at it now, we have item number 3 for sale, and that is a dinner at your favorite restaurant as long as the tab is under $50, or $50 if you're feeling fancy. If you do decide to go to this restaurant, make sure to record your transaction. The last step in our pathway towards understanding saving is saving techniques. To start, let me just make it clear, there's endless techniques for saving. However, there are a couple of good ways to get started. One of the most effective techniques for saving is separating spending money from savings. This is something that many adults live by. One of the main rules for this sort of technique is the 50-30-20 rule, and that means allotting 50% of your income to your needs, 30% of your income to your wants, and 20% to your savings. Another technique would be to become a savvy shopper. Being a savvy shopper can come in many shapes or forms, such as making sure to compare prices, keeping an eye out for discounts, and most importantly, in my opinion, to avoid buying impulsively. Another good way to save money is to make rules for yourself. It's important to make rules that are realistic. Some good ones would be to save $1 for every 3 that you spend, or to eat out only once a week. And with that, we have item number 4. Item number 4 is the last item in our game. So if you have the funds to purchase item number 4 and you would like to, go for it and make sure you record your transaction as always. So I'm sure many of you are realizing right now, I can't buy item number 4. I only had $200 and I spent some of it on the other 3 items. Only people who chose to save their money even have the option to buy the TV. What we can see here is not buying things impulsively is the key to buying the things that are most important to you, because you save your resources for when you come across those items. A good way to avoid this impulsive spending is to live by the 30-day rule. This rule states that when you find something you'd like to purchase, you should put the amount of money that something is worth into your savings account. If 30 days later you still want to buy the thing, then you should buy it. But if you don't, then leave the money in your savings account and you're $30 richer. With that, I hope you found this presentation helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Please also make sure to check out our social media accounts and website.